too soft. I'm getting too old, right?
So these are what does it mean by curse?
Can someone tell our good friend? Yeah.
So the resource growth is something that we working on.
Anyone else who wants to kind of have? Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good starting point. Yeah, that's a very good within the country context. A very good one. Yeah.
I mean, one mention that countries future developments they are very experience. So what is also some kind of function.
No. Corruption. No.
Certain degrees of prices of critical.
We were talking of minerals are cyclical in nature. The prices of commodities, they go up, they go down. So when they go up, a lot of people start mining. A lot of people wants to work in mining because mining pays a lot of money. I told you, right? My students get more money than I get after 30 years.
For example, the nickel prices and cobalt prices, suppose 50,000 and 60,000 US dollars. All of a sudden, again, down to 20,000 US dollars. And we are going to observe that. That's why it's
So what we were discussing is, for example, if there's a mining jurisdiction, Western Australia in Australia is almost 50% of Australia, right? So if you draw a line halfway through, that's Western Australia, and then other states are tiny bits. So huge mining activity. During boom time, what will happen? A lot of people will flock to entice people into mining. You have to pay them a lot. I talked about FIFO, right? We talked about FIFO. Does someone remember what is FIFO means? FIFO? Fly out. And they pay a lot of money also because their mining happens in a remote location. Not many people are willing to go. Mining also, pay scholarships, blah, blah, blah. And then suddenly, boom time, the recruitment goes up a lot. Like same like software industry. India, probably software curse, let's say. If it is resource curse, in India, it will be software curse. When there's a lot of software companies hire, and suddenly they retrench people.
So they have lots of political and social issues because of the displacements, because of the tribal conflict. And even though they have the resources, they don't have luxury to enjoy those resources because of these issues. Forest gets replaced, the settlements gets replaced, people is mining. And the other is environmental factors. So this is actually a resource loss.
True, very true. They will have to feel the brunt or eat the dust. We enjoy the lights, and my hometown in Mantini is eating the dust. My father is eating the dust for you to be in the AC room and getting well lit lights. Mining, because each time they blow up a bomb, our houses do like this.
yes.
Yeah.
What is it?
My hometown to the nearest mine is about 15 kilometers. Aerial distance. Yeah. Blasting vibration. Our friends are experts in that. Yes. But still you may do all that control. See, these guys are all about that, they study how to make it safer, softer, and so on and so forth. But still
But they is it public notice comes and
कितने बार धरना होता है, ये होता है, वो होता है, बंद करता है, बट फिर जाके मौसमी आ जाओ, चाय पी लो, बैठ जाओ, ऐसा करता है, फिर चालू.
I think that's
Our friend, the friend, your next friend can tell you how Tata Steel deals with them, right?
Yeah. So, branchless mining, we install rippers actually. When we approach the mining boundary. So, in order to address that issue, these are some of the things that we do. Assessment of branchless mining technologies also. Installation of rippers.
Again, as we said with rippers, that's a good thing that you brought up. So we talked about water transport, rail transport, and road transport, right? Same with mechanical breakage and chemical breakage. Mechanical breakage is expensive, whereas if you use blast, cheap,
Yes.
isn't it? Very cheap. Same with the tunnel boring machines, expensive, right?
I have a very technical question. So like if you are facing the consequences of the pandemic, you are the doctors are not
Complaining, बहुत complain करता है
but still like why it's not
because it's important, right? See, if you don't produce coal, where will you get electricity? Got it? No? Did you watch that video that I said that you should watch? Huh? Eliminate mining. How many of you watched? Just a 1 minute video. Please watch it now. Eliminate mining. YouTube video. What will happen is we all will become completely stripped out of
Okay, but in I also see these videos where people are actually suffering from their birth has like this form, and they are getting cancer. They're like inherent problem situation. So I think it's very contradictory. Like for me, yeah, I will make money, but people are also suffering at this.
That's your research area. You should tell us after your PhD. You should come and give us a lecture. Huh?
It's very contradictory for me. Like
It is.
I
It
cannot
is.
support this or this without ignoring that. So it's kind of hard.
Yeah. See, it's all about long-term optimization versus short-term maximization principle, right? Are you happy to get some small area rotted to keep everyone running, everyone driving, everyone working, or else you want to keep that pristine and then the rest of the country rottens?
Mining is the mother of development.
Exactly, exactly. Uh,
Mother of development.
Yes. So it's probably.
I think it's the same thing because I just general example for us, I'm from some right? So we oppose the construction of the dam, but I also know that we have electricity for it. But construction of the dam is very scarce for us because we have started in this thing.
mm,
I think that's the major problem. It's not really developed because of the Indian content we have. And in case some dam breaks off here, like done. So this is also a fear that we have, but yes, those fears generation. So I'm confident.
how many dams are breaking like that? What is the percentage? What is the chance?
Um,
1 in a million?
when I was a kid,
How many aeroplanes are falling off?
it's getting big.
Right?
But like when I was a kid, like my dad's place, it got flooded like in our candles and all. It's all gone. And I mean, people has like there is no one river and like in a star for much days.
Mm.
It's should have 1200 square meters. But now it became like 600. People that they don't have anything there, they have to go. So these are also the concerns that someone not even know certain thing, but yes, we also need electricity generation costs.
Yeah, you have to think global again. Going back to the same principle, right? Think global, right? Local. Simple. Mining is the mother of development. Very true. That's fundamental.
But can you also see development?
And then we'll come to that. Better ways of doing mining also is very important. Now we'll come in next lecture. So there are other ways of doing it, as our friend said. What you call rippers. There are also other ways.
Economic development will be there, but there is also economic development in Texas. In India, it has been there, that's 135, 136, right? So It's contradictory, right? One side it's growing, one side.
So it will happen. You see, in that now we are in the phase where that will be very, very apparent. Once we get into that self-sufficiency, you will see India also as a US. All the roads will be beautified. All the sides will be. If you look now, also even if you look at some of the highways, they look pretty good. This is not said by me. This is said by former Australian Prime Minister several times.
Now we are second place.
It's
Yeah.
not like that. It's not nice. But because of both roads, there are elephant pointers as well. And that because I
You are a very conservationist, huh? Like what is that? Yeah. We'll continue afterwards. Yeah.
the elephants are also coming and they can stuck in the houses. So that's the thing.
No, very good. I think that's a reasonable confusion to have, but that's it.
Session after break because I started to lectures after our break.
Yeah.
We can continue.
We started a bit late today, but we're okay, right? In terms of time wise.
It's time. Yeah, it's okay, sir.
5 minutes. Let's squeeze it to 5 minutes. Yeah.
Tea is available outside.
We had a deal with China, right? Just right?
Yeah.
That they.
Oh, that's optics. That's optic, Hemant.
It is not that.
No, just to bully Trump, as Trump is bullying. So now we are very clear in terms of why, right? Why? Why critical minerals? Huh? Why focus critical minerals? So we spoke quite extensively about what are critical minerals, right? What? Why? How? So all our discussions are just revolving around these three. Huh? So now we will look at accelerating the future of clean energy through critical minerals investment. Again, we are looking at the case of India, right? Energy transition is very, very important, both from external dependency point of view, right? And also Atmanirbharta point of view, that self-reliance, and also from exchequer point of view. So we are looking at what? Decarbonization. See, I'm a very classic lecture teacher. I use blackboard a lot, whiteboard rather, right? Decarbonization. Decarbonization or what is the other term? No, decarbonization or net zero. Yeah, net zero. Yeah, your emissions are equal to your offsets. Yeah. Oh yeah, no? Like whatever you emit, you offset. That's one key underpinning reason. Number two, reduce external dependencies. Currently, we are at 80%. Our crude, just crude alone, crude oil. So crude oil you import, then you refine it to produce petrol, diesel. So you want to reduce that. And again, third one is exchequer. Exchequer. Exchequer is your forex. You know what is forex? Forex baby. I don't know whether your generation has seen forex baby. when we were growing up, forex was the milk powder those days. India, we used to have milk scarcity those days, and then there was a when we had food grains shortage, we started with green revolution. Professor Swami, there was a commission also on his name recently. He's the pioneer for green revolution. Produce more grains. Now, as a matter of fact, Minister Nitin Gadkari very confidently says a number of times. I hear him saying that India's food grains, like for example, you have 2 successive years of drought. Let's assume there is no single drop of rain that's going to fall on India. Still, you will have food grains to eat. And in fact, India is running out of storage. FCI, FCI,
Corporation of India.
Food Corporation of India. Their godowns are, I think, bursting. So much of food. And now the same minister says, I want to use that when I have got, because people, they're getting wasted. They're eating by rats and eaten by rats, and they're getting wet and then sprouting in the FCI godowns because lack of facility. He wants to use that to produce methanol, energy. Again, to reduce the dependency. Chemical engineers, right? So one is the other one is what we said. One is the green revolution. Then happened white revolution because there was a time when that particular generation of kids were getting malnutrition. Not much good quality milk was present. But today, India is the largest milk producer in the world. Right? So that's called white revolution. So thanks to that planners, that 5-year plan. Now we call it Niti Aayog. Earlier it used to be called Planning Commission. Yes, Planning Commission. They used to do 5-year. Panchavarsha Pranalika. Yes, Telugu in Telugu. So what will happen is if you have to import something, why Trump is unhappy that India is importing Russian oil. And in fact, what Dr. Jaishankar, our External Affairs Minister, says is because of that, world energy is in full sufficiency. World is progressing the way that it's progressing. Otherwise, world would have gone into recession. Because we are getting at a rate that is stipulated by US, and then we are supplying that at that cost because our refining cost is far lesser compared to Western refining. Okay? So what will happen? Russia will ask for dollars. They will not take rupees because rupees cannot, because when you have more trade surplus on the other side, rupees won't help. If it is a trade surplus on our end, rupees will help because we will buy back our rupees. Again, this is a little bit of economics, but important. You need to have, as engineers and other people, we should have some. So what will happen? Exchequer will drain. We said that about 700 billion, right? US dollar, 700 billion. So that is sufficient to feed our economy for next 9 months. Should something happen, India will survive without any problem for next 9 months. It's good. China has $3 trillion of forex because China is a massive manufacturing. Pretty much every country in the world buys from them, right? So everyone has to pay. But China is also clever enough in doing trading in yuan, their own currency, so that your currency becomes, they call it green bank, right? Do you know what is a green bank called? Why green bank is green bank? Okay, that's activity for you to tell me after lunch. Green bank. Why US dollar is the traded commodity like currency worldwide? Green bank. Okay, you tell me. So what will happen? India has to shell out dollars and then you will go down leaner. And that is when I proudly say that a prime minister who hails from my hometown, I told you, right? P.V. Narasimha Rao Garu, he's the one who changed the course of this country. Otherwise, this country would have completely gone into a mess. Maybe some of you were born, yes. 1990 was pivotal. And you should watch a video on YouTube by Walk the Talk by Shekhar Gupta. You should watch. It was his decision. It is not Dr. Manmohan Singh. A lot of credit went to Dr. Manmohan Singh, but it is the decision of P.V. Narasimha Rao. It was a political decision. So there were, like, he reached the dead end, and now it is political decision. You watch it, it's on record on YouTube. If you go right, maybe right or wrong. If you go left, maybe right or wrong. And then he said, okay, you go ahead, I will take the ownership. And it happens to be right decision. See, if you look at in the same process, many countries have completely gone bankrupt. You know, USSR, erstwhile USSR. Have you heard of USSR? When it got dissolved? Yeah, which year it got dissolved? 89-ish. Yeah. That time, the president of USSR was Mikhail Gorbachev. Again, you know, these were the people that we used to hear a lot, our generation of people. What he did, he implemented two economic reforms without testing them at a scale, at a small scale, countrywide. Perestroika and Glasnost. These were the two reforms which completely collapsed the USSR economy. Perestroika and Glasnost. Anyway, that's immaterial, but I remember because, you know, until then it was a strong country, and that's why a lot of Indians went to USSR. So if you go to Moscow, you have a lot of Indians, because during Cold War era, Russia supported India a lot compared to US. US supported Pakistan, let's say. And then that's how traditionally, and then post Cold War, a lot of Indians went to US. Right? So USSR collapsed into, the current Ukraine was part of the same USSR. Look at this. Now India and Pakistan were together, and Bangladesh. Now we fight among each other. Anyway, that aside, what I'm saying is, so a lot of forex drains. That means you become weak, and then your inflation goes up. So it's again, you get into that vicious circle. So to keep your currency high and strong, maintaining healthy forex is very, very important. What is forex? Forex baby. So actually, I told all this story because of that forex baby. Forex baby was a, you know, the, I don't know what are the contemporary ones that you get in the market, baby powders. Anyway, none of you are having any, huh? Cerelac, yeah, Cerelac baby, right? Yeah. So those days it was forex. Forex. A healthy baby used to be on the tin, you know that. So forex also means what? That was forex baby. Now this forex is what? Foreign exchange. Exactly. So forex is an abbreviated form for forex reserve, foreign exchange reserves. As we said for capex and opex, you remember? Yeah, capex and opex. See, I say this way so that it gets deeply into your, you know, basis. Yeah? Opex. So that's 700 billion, which is healthy, and it's growing very fast. Do you know another important fact? Again, this is not directly related to critical illness, but you should be aware, you should be very proud. People of Indian origin live in different countries, right? How many people you think of Indian origin live in different countries overseas?
To 13.
Huh?
All to 13.
Million? No, that's too less.
Origin. You're talking about origin.
Indians abroad.
In numbers, millions probably.
No, 20% is too high. No, 20 is too high. About 1.5%. About 2 crore people of Indians live abroad. What's the advantage,
What?
They do remittances. Like, for example, I send a lot of money to my sisters, my siblings, etc.
Highest remittance.
India is the highest remittance country.
430.
That's why Trump has now imposed remittance tax,
5%.
because that's how India boosts its forex reserves. The other way is trading. Trading is the other way. Like when Apple manufactures Apple phones in the country, then they get shipped to US, and then the US dollars will come to India. Right? The other way is people working in those countries sending money, and then that's how you boost your reserves, right? And those will make your country strong, or rather our country strong. So then what else? Why? What else is the other reason? Urban pollution. Have you seen the pollution levels? Have you heard of P? Huh?
PMI.
What is that?
PMI.
What is the PMI stands for? PMI index. That's a particular PM. Yeah, PM 2.5. Does someone know what is that PM 2.5 means? Micron size. What will happen with that? They will settle in lungs. The residence time is longer. One of my PhD student has done recently. She is a joint PhD student between Monash and IIT Bombay. She has done a research on PM 2.5 concentrations in coal mining areas in the country. So you use a lot of diesel equipment, right? And diesel equipment is the ones which produce PM 2.5, mainly automobile pollution. Automobiles are the ones which will cause PM 2.5. PM 2.5, the problem is they will go and sit deep in your lungs, and then they will become canceric. They all got. In fact, there was a time lead was used in petrol. Now we are using unleaded petrol, right? Unleaded. So that means people used to use, again, my generation, we know that, lead was used as an anti-knocking agent. Knocking means dud, 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 the kind of sound, it used to make when you use petrol. But now it doesn't make. Petrol is very silent. So lead was, and lead poisoning was a prominent issue soon after that. People had lead levels have gone up, and then people had cancers. And lead has very high carcinogenic. Yeah. So we are digressing, but important. Now, but lead also is now a critical mineral, as arsenic was. Arsenic causes cancers, but now people are ready to pay money to get arsenic. There was a time to get rid of arsenic, but now it is. So what else? This urban pollution. Just imagine if all our vehicle fleet is turned into electric, how beautiful Hyderabad would look, how beautiful Delhi would look, right? If you are stopping on any red signal, it's horrible, right? If you keep your windows open, if you are sitting in a car, the exhaust of the bus will become completely black. I told you the honking is another problem. I don't know why people see. I drive now. See, I don't drive. I don't dare to drive to the city, but I do up to Sangareddy. Last night I went. hardly single time I did not even do honking. यहाँ पे आदत हो गया सबको. And my nephew, I used to have a bit of but like I used to sit next to him and then he do करता है. And then I said, क्यों कर रहे हैं? No, mama, you have to do here, otherwise. अरे यार क्यों? Even उसके बावजूद भी if you लगाया किसको, then no fight आएगा, दप्पड़ तो मारेगा ना ये. Will you stop? Then why would you do that honking? Rather you go a bit slow. No, I'm not preaching, but I'm practicing that. Every time I drive in my hometown and even in IIT, I never honk. इधर को लोगों का एक साइकोलॉजिकल ये हो गया.
It's still better. Walking without my dad.
Yeah, it's really no. The other day I was in the car and then bus stopped next to us. Oh, RTC bus होता है ना, and that is it will blow up your चौल होता है. Huh? So I don't know. Still, can you do that? Individual social risk again? ISR. सीट बेल्ट लगाओ. गाड़ी चलाए तो सीट बेल्ट लगाओ. Don't spit on the road. Simple things. कर सकते हैं ना. So pollution, and then you can go on and listing. So now let us look at what India is doing in that space. So again, that's our common slide in every lecture. So that's we sort of looked at. I think India has achieved already 500 gigawatt capacity recently, and of which 50% is already renewable energy, which is good. And Prime Minister also said very proudly on the Independence Day that we achieved, I think it was the target was 2030. Look at that. If you have resolved what India can achieve, if anything, whether it is green revolution, white revolution, the fish and prawns and reduction of imports of fish and prawns, seafood, India has done it spectacularly. And same with space mission. Anything that we have taken on mission mode, we have delivered. Because it is this, what I see in front of me, which can make that tides turn. The youth. Ultra low cost. Again, if you watched that video of Professor Mashelkar, Gandhi and Engineering, have you watched?
Yes.
You watched? Yeah. Please watch. They are very, very important. Then that will give you goosebumps about your country. You become patriots. Otherwise, you think, oh, India is useless. India कोई कानून नहीं करता है, वो करता है. Because if I reflect on my own journey, I went to my first year engineering with slippers. Shoes was a very expensive matter those days. I couldn't afford shoes until because workshop में shoes का बिना नहीं आने देते थे. But from that to where India today is, it's far better. And that time the population was only say 70 crores. Now it is double, right? But still, people are. I'm not saying that level of poverty that उस समय food grains नहीं था. I told you, right? Like people, if there was a function, people used to use విస్తరాకులు తినేవారు. విస్తరాకులు వేస్తే దాంట్లో నాకేవాళ్ళు పాపం. అట్లాంటి జనాలను కూడా చూసాం మేము. And our level of poverty we have seen. At least that doesn't exist. If you are able to work, you will get money. And government also gives a lot of monies, perks, free bus, free this, free that. Which should happen. So once your economic status goes up, again that will flow back. In fact, our friend was saying, India 1, India 2. Is that right? India 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 Indias within India. India 1 is, all those billionaires. One Bombay is the city which houses maximum number of billionaires in the world. You know that, right?
India one is very poor, something like India has implemented. And it's not like India one, 4 billion are implemented.
Hmm.
So that
India one.
India is power in some power.
Hmm. Yeah. So there are several Indias, right? I told like we've got first world countries in India, also third world countries in India.
So we still have to provide because over the election.
Yeah. Yeah. No, but that's good. That way you jack their financial status up, and then they will contribute back into the economy.
But there is also theory from it and says if we keep pending incentives to the government companies, because we thinking that anyway, at the end of the month we will get the ration. So we
No, look up, look around. No, okay, that's one theory, but look around you, people around you. Are they really sitting like that?
oh yes. In my place, yes. So my district has been an expansion district for like November 16th.
No, Indians are entrepreneur, like they're
Uh,
hardworking.
I mean, I came out from my house in 2016, still had two buses from Guwahati to my place, still have two buses.
Okay, anyway, let me take you to another important statistic. Again, not many of you may be aware. India was pre-British India was the richest. We were contributing 27% to the world's GDP. Do you know that, right? And by the time British left us, we were 2%. We were like a poster child. Again, you hear some good lectures by Dr. Shashi Tharoor. He's very eloquent in that way. He whitewashes Brits. And now again we are back up again. Yeah. And now we are the fastest growing major economy in the world, which we should be proud about, right? But again, there are so many things that we could do better. And no government can do that daring step. ऐसा करो करके yeah, so then they will be out of power. Then they will not have opportunity to implement what they want to implement for the country. So they have to play a very balanced game. Anyway, politics is not what we're going to discuss. So that's a kind of installed capacity. But what's happening is the share of renewables is going up. Again, for all those reasons, it's very, very important. What are the reasons? Decarbonization and so on and so forth. Is it okay? So then again, we looked at this slide also. These are some of the very key important raw material. For example, here is the solar panel. What you have? Aluminum and titanium. That's for your battery. And then zinc and magnesium, energy storage. And then you got panels, you got so many metals. Cadmium is also a environmental pollutant, you know, right? Cadmium is a carcinogen. And then you got tellurium, molybdenum. You know that molybdenum is sourced as a byproduct of copper. And then you got beryllium, germanium, gallium, indium, silver, and silicon. Then what you have, you got semiconductors. You got boron, phosphorus, and silicon. And then you got frame, lithium, nickel, manganese, cobalt, carbon, and vanadium. And then we got different battery chemistry, which will come later. Right? So a lot of them are going to be required to have that. But once you have them, now China's, if you look at China's installed storage capacity, it's already 50 gigawatts hour. Huge. So they've been building that because they knew that that's where they will have that superpower. No one can threaten them कि आपको oil नहीं supply करेगा, ये नहीं, bullying will not happen. Yeah? So self-sufficiency, आत्मनिर्भरता, self-reliance, Amrit Kal. This is that's what Prime Minister calls it as Amrit Kal. Now you are on a steady growth of 7%. And if that 7% growth continues for next 2 decades, at least a decade, you will be already into 20 trillion. And if it continues for 2 decades, you're already 40 trillion economy, doubling. That's exactly how Japan has transformed itself after Second World War. That's exactly China has come long way from last 2 decades. So that's their whole thing. So India will be, before I leave, India will be a developed country. I have absolutely no doubt about it. Who are the key? We, the citizens. See, if you can have all the technology, but finally, who drives the technology? People. People are the glue. See, when you are having that big ambition, you have pitfalls. It's not that it's going to be a smooth ride.
Yeah.
You will have joblessness, you will have this, you will have, filthiness, you have got this, you have to clean up. For example, on a rainy day, if you have to go out of the campus, it's a hell. Because the building that, once it is built, beautiful. See, same thing happened, when before metros were built. And even while they were built, also a lot of inconvenience. But now everyone enjoys them. So, thoda to सहना पड़ता है ना? Yeah, you have to, because you have to feel. Then this is another important renewable energy and demand for critical minerals. So we are looking at 3 important things. One is solar. What is PV stands for? Photovoltaics, right? Onshore wind and offshore wind. Any difference in onshore and offshore? What does it mean? On the land, in the sea, right? So you can see the material intensity. What are the kind of metals that we are going to need? Copper, zinc, nickel. Yeah, keep saying. So that MO is what is MO? Molybdenum. Yeah. Silicon, cobalt, rare earth elements. Look at that, the material. What is the material? What is the metal of dominance and importance in this? Copper. That's why copper is called the gold of the future. Copper is the gold of future. So you're going to need how many? Now we are looking at what? That is kilogram per megawatt hour capacity, right? So 4,000, 8,000, 12,000, and 16,000 per megawatt hour, right? And 7% of GEGs. What is that? 4%. What does that mean? What is GEG stands for? Hmm? Okay. I'll get back to you. What is the GEG stands for? Approximately 4% of our GEG. And that's a cost currently. And also, if you look at solar itself, solar used to cost nearly $100, $160 per kilowatt. Now it is $4. See how it is. So technology makes things cheaper. Right? Global energy. Global Energy Group. Huh?
Yes.
Group. GROUP. Okay.
It's also
Second amendment. Not like global energy.
Okay.
And the gross energy.
Yeah, gross energy generation. That's right. Classic. That's about currently 7% of gross energy generation. Yeah, excellent. So the cost will come down with time. And if that manufacturing happens, that's what when Apple phones were trying to manufacture in India, and then Trump was trying to say, hey, if you say I'll impose a lot of tariffs, even after 100% tariffs also, it will be $200 cheaper. The same Apple phone would cost you $6,000 if they were produced and sold within the US. But if they are manufactured in India, they will cost you about $1,500. Because our labor is competitive, our water is cheaper, our data is cheap. Data, you get the most cheapest data in the world. I lived in the US, I lived in Australia, very expensive. So यहाँ पे data almost throw away price. Again, see, local currency में आपको थोड़ा दिक्कत होता होगा, but that's there. Is that clear? Next one. The Indian government has provided Australian dollar 38 billion for PLI again. Incentives. 13 key sectors included, including electronics, automotive, energy storage, steel, and telecommunication. So these are the kind of growth scenarios. What are we saying? One is electric buses, electric four-wheel auto rickshaws, and then two-wheelers. So these are the forecasted demand. What are we saying? High growth. Under high growth scenario, medium growth scenario, and low growth scenario. Low growth means absolutely economy is growing at 2%, let's say.
Yeah,
Dead. As Trump says, right? Indian economy is dead. Indian economy is not dead. India is the only economy which is growing at the rate, fastest growing economy, major economy. In fact, other countries now are fearing recession. You know what is recession, by the way? What? Prices. And also, what is the indicator of recession? We talked about growth now, right? Just now. No, that's fine. These are all the reasons. But I'm saying, how do you? What is that indicates the recession? So if you have got 3 successive quarters, you know, quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4, right? What is in India? Quarter 1 is? Is it calendar year now? Financial year also? No.
First quarter start from April.
April to June, July to September, October to December,
Yeah,
January to March. These are the quarters. So if you had 3 successive quarters of negative growth, so now India is growing at 7%, right? I think
yes.
IMF has readjusted to 6.5%. So if you have negative growth for 3 or 2 successive quarters, that means you are tending to a recession. Many countries are now experiencing that. Because one, inflation is going up, prices are going up, there's not enough money, not enough jobs. So all of that is kind of leading to that. Right? So everyone across to this, look at this projection between 0.05 million to 0.8 million four-wheel electric buses. Already, I think Telangana, you got many electric buses, right?
Yeah.
And then 3.2 million to 6 million cars. Now even Tesla is making inroads into the country. Recently, Mumbai, in Mumbai or where?
And that was just a sales store, but
No, but I think they're going to go set up a manufacturing. And then 3 million to 6 million auto rickshaws. And I visited these two in Ola factory in Kodaikuri or something in Tamil Nadu. It's a huge one. I told you, right? It's 100% women driven shop floor, not office. I felt it was goosebumps to me. And it was Australian delegation. They were surprised. 100% people fitting, doing everything, fixing, assembling. The entire shop floor is a, huh? Is it? Oh, is it? So that's that projection. Then look at this. I just said a few times, typical electric vehicle, your car, electric car would be around 60 kilowatt hour battery. BYD, or which are the other brands? One is Tesla, BYD, and the third one was your China's. Huh? Yeah, see, what is that one? Huh? Sit. Yeah. So typically, if you look at a conventional car, that means the car that I have here on campus, it's like IC engine. You know IC engine, right? How many of you know IC stands for? Industrial combustion engine. So typically, again, other than the body and chassis, leaving that, there are dashboard metals and everything else, will be around 34 kilogram per vehicle. The body and everything will be maybe 2 tons, right? And then a typical electric car requires how many kilograms? 207. And that's why if you on the face value, it looks, oh no, this is not sustainable, right? But look at the right hand side. So lithium ion battery, you got 6 kilogram of lithium, 10 kilogram of manganese, 20 kilogram of copper, and 29 kilogram of nickel. And then you also have graphite, about 56 kilogram. So on the face value, just on the face value between this and this looks unsustainable. But I want to draw your attention to this life cycle emissions. Have you heard of life cycle emissions?
And take the average working.
Yeah, I think generally your car, a typical car in India is about 30 years. India हम चलाते हैं और नहीं चलता है तो बैलगाड़ी लगा के चलाते हैं इसको. हाँ? Generally, it is between 25 to 30 years. A typical Western standard is about 20 to 25 years. So, for example, if it has run 20 years, so that's the kind of emissions it would produce. How many? 35, this is 42 tons of CO2 equivalents. That's a battery vehicle, that is hybrid vehicle, and that's IC engine vehicle. And the major portion of that comes from this. 26 tons is contributed by your electricity charging. But that electricity is produced by coal. Hence, you got high emissions there. Should that electricity be renewable based, which in India is already 50%, then that would be substantially thinning. So that means almost 1/3 of what a typical IC engine will produce is what your electric car is going to produce for the entire lifetime. You getting what I'm saying? So if you have an electric car versus an IC engine car would produce how many tons? About close to 57 tons of CO2 equivalents. Greenhouse gases, GHGs we call it, right? End of life. That's called end of life. It's positive. Because when you take this, you can recover, recycle your research and what your research is. You can recover. Metals by design can be recycled unlimited number of times as long as you can hold on to it. For example, if you've got a piece of aluminum here, as long as you don't lose fugitively, क्योंकि इसको टुकड़ा करे तो कहीं like you put into somewhere on the ground and then उसके ऊपर मट्टी आ जाता है, then it will
Metal have 85 to 99% recycling. Plastic still.
I have a slide there. I'll show you that also. So that means as long as you can take it to a recycler, you can recycle it. And how many times? Infinitely. 1 kilogram of copper you used in wiring, and uska end of life again you take it to a recycler. Maybe you can get 99% of that. Only 10% would have gone worn out. So unlimited number of times you can recycle. Yeah. So that's positive in the hybrid also, and here also. IC engine also you get some metals can be recycled. Remember the previous slide? Sorry, this slide. Oh. That portion can be recycled, which is positive, right? Yeah. Then what are we saying? India aims to have 30% vehicles powered by electricity by 2030. So 2030 is how many years away? 5 years? I think we will do it, I'm sure. If you have done 50% renewables 5 years in advance, I'm sure we'll do it as well. One, petrol is expensive and petrol prices goes up, so it's a compelling reason. Electricity तो बस plug में लगा दो. IIT में आए तो भी IIT में कोई कहीं लगा सकते हैं ना. Can use that. And then you got different scenarios. Develop 50% gigawatt hour of cell manufacturing by 2030, which China is already there. That means storage. One of the problems that I said with renewable energy is you can only produce solar energy when sun is around. The sun is around only until 6 o'clock. 6 ke baad, sun will, so you cannot. But that's when the demand peaks. If you look at the demand cycles, demand curves, that's a day, time of the day. I think it goes like that, then it goes like that, then the next peak will like that. So that's about say 9 p.m. Yeah, it's about 9 a.m. Let's say. So, but beyond 6 p.m., you don't have any solar radiation. So the only solution is store. When you're producing, you store it. The problem with electricity is you cannot store. Right? You can only produce and use it. Whether it is like coal or hence coal remains the base load still. Coal will provide that base load. Yeah. Then here are some some numbers here. Again, we looked up 100% dependence, 60% import, 100%, 100%, mostly in 100% as of now. One, you're vulnerable. Two, you're wasting your forex. When you can produce, when you produce, you're creating jobs locally, and those jobs will create tax revenues for the governments, and then people's quality of life will increase. देखो ना कितना like it's nice cycle, but if you don't do it, it's a vicious circle. You don't create jobs, people have social problems, people's income levels doesn't rise, the government has to provide a lot of support. How long you will continue to provide? Again, you're 80 crore, right? Yeah. Limitation. And during COVID time, I think government has provided food supplies for 40 days. Huh? 50 days. Clear? We'll move forward. What is this? Again, low growth, electric vehicles, grid storage, and other applications. So, low growth is business not as usual. Like you have growth rate of 2%, which in India, no. I also told you another important statistic. that India, most of growth is driven by domestic consumption. In China, it is 20% from exports. The growth of China is about 4% now. 20% of that is driven by exports. For us, it's only 7%. That means 93% of our growth is driven by domestic consumption, which is good. That's where, Atmanirbharta comes in. That means even if you cordon all your borders, you can still have, as long as your energy supplies continue to come, etc., etc.
When we refer to the possible, the volume is bigger change at 6%.
Yeah. But that's a good point. Yeah.
That's right, $4 trillion economy, 6%.
Yeah. Makes sense. But again, if everyone, but see, then world has no option other than China anyway. World has to continue to import stuff. Yeah. Is that clear to everyone? So now probably India is here in this bracket, medium to high growth, which means we will get to our targets way ahead of time. How many of you have electric two-wheelers? Anyone? You have it. I've driven. When I went to Ola factory, each one of us kind of were given a helmet and then we drove. It's a nice, beautiful experience. What is HRREs and LREEs? Beautiful. A round of claps for yourselves. So finally, you are my test case. So I don't mean anything, but you are non-engineering and non-science. So if you got it, means it's good, right? So again, conservative, base, and optimistic. Base is what business as usual, but optimistic is where we are kind of. All right. So you have it in kilotons and so on and so forth. This is another important thing. I've been saying it repeatedly, but this is very striking. You don't need them in millions of tons. You need them few in milligrams, actually, to be very honest. Let's take LED bulbs. CFL bulb, LED. Now almost we are LED, right? These are all LEDs, I'm guessing. Yeah? LEDs. What is LED stands for? Anyone? Beautiful. Another round of applause. CFL, chlorofluorescent, right? LFL, anyway, I don't also know, sorry. Look at the grams, that's in kilograms. Is it 4 grams or even less than that? 0.04 grams? How many? That's kilogram. 0.00. So 1 gone, 2 gone, 3 gone, that's kilo. That's gram. 0.0004 grams. That's 4 milligrams. That means like this. But it does what the magic it does. See, when you take medicines, right? गोलियां तो इतना ही आता है. Body is big, goli is small, but it does its सर दर्द ऐसा जाता है चिटके में. So same thing. Wind turbines. ND stands for neodymium. DY dysprosium. Anyway, that's my way of, but maybe we should ask chemistry people, chemical engineers. Yeah. TB is what? Terbium. Excellent. Terbium. And then yttrium. Yttrium. So the quantities are very tiny. as you can see. But they will do the magic. The power saving, the brightness, the nice feeling. I don't know if you ever sat in a room that is incandescent bulbs. Did you sit? Yeah? Like we used to feel suffocated. And that too, like at my age, I will be struggling to read. But these are beautiful, right? And warm, of course. In winter, it's good. All right, let's go ahead. Again, the next one is also important. Typical 60 kilowatt hour capacity battery, which is again a Tesla battery, is going to need about 180 kilograms of minerals, which we have already looked at in the previous slides. And look at that. Graphite is the biggest component. Graphite is cheap, $2 kilo. Cheap. Graphite is plenty, right? Again, our chemical engineers friends can tell what is synthetic graphite versus natural graphite.
Resources.
Net.
I think you can add some other elements if you want to. Like intensify any property.
Okay. We trust you. I don't know also. Okay. So look at that. That's again batteries. So India is now getting into this. Why? You reckon India is going this way?
Synthetic electron petroleum.
Petroleum. Oh, is it? Okay. Mines. Most of the graphite, what I know is most of the graphite used in battery chemistry is synthetic. That's only I know, but I don't know what is the difference between them. Okay. Okay. But again, they require the purity levels are very, very high. And so India is going this way. Why, you reckon? Yeah. So these are three are missing. No need of these three. Best, and they give you the same level of performance. LFP, lithium iron phosphate. LFP. And again, this I think we have looked at Indian critical minerals list. And the next slide is about this. Across 25 criticality assessment by major economies and different global studies, 73 different elements have been classified as being critical, highlighting diverse national priorities and growing global importance. And we have just looked at India. India is now 30. The previous slide. Yeah, that's 30. 6 times 5. Yeah. And these are US, look at that, 50. UK, 34. So literally Europe, Japan, Korea don't have any mining activity at all, almost negligible. So that means they look towards countries like Australia, Canada, and African nations. All right? Clear? And Australia's list is not for Australia's own requirement, because Australia there's no manufacturing. We do. But what we want to do, we want to service our partners and allies, Quad partners, MSP. What is MSP? Well, security partnership. Yeah. Clear? Look at this. I think, did we look at this slide before or no? First time. This is the import reliance as far as India is concerned. Like we have looked at or no? First time. Huh? Saw the slide. But the context is, okay, that's that, and we import. Reliance is 100%. Okay. So let's quickly wind up. This is again my favorite slide. you look at what are we looking at? Country reserves of battery materials or battery minerals or battery metals as a percentage of global reserves. Now we know what is reserves and resources, right? Reserve is something that you can bet upon. Resource is little bit vague, which could become, right? So out of the 10 metals that are going to be needed for battery, where is India standing? India is here, and Australia is here. So Australia generally have every mineral that you require. Australia is the only country, as you can see in the chart. So it doesn't mean that India doesn't have. Either we have not done enough exploration of that, or we're not identified, etc., etc.
But then I think India can competitive recycling here.
But again, see, when your demand is more than what your recycling can match, you still need mining, right?
But Australia is one percent compared to the rest.
Yeah, the problem is we don't do processing. That's a problem.
So
So lithium, Australia produces 50% of world's lithium, spodumene concentrate. But 90% of downstream processing happens in China. So the criticality of for lithium is not in the mining, but in the processing.
That's a value chain 1.5.
Yeah, you remember that 150 billion, 1.5%.
it's cheap in China. It's cheaper.
Yeah, because you have more people. So more people means one, domestic demand is important. So that's where India can put up a resilient supply chain because we have got our own demand. We don't have to be supplying to anyone. You remember that 93% driven by our local consumption, domestic consumption. That is the most striking point as far as India is concerned. Yeah. Okay, this is again a simple not a graphic that I just said. So this is critical raw material. See, critical raw material can be just a mineral. Critical mineral can be just a mineral. Should you know this? Should you have transparency? Should you have ESG? ESG stands for governance, and then collaboration. So once it passes through the tunnel, it simply becomes what? A simple mineral. So it will be like copper, it will be like aluminum, it will be like zinc, it will be like gold. So more transparency, more information, and better collaboration. We want that transformation to happen. So that's why we need to work in partnership, right? Work in collaboration, not in competition. Because if you're competition, you're cutting yourselves. So that's why it has to be a growth that is organic. If the growth is not organic, what will lead it to? What will it lead it into? Cancer. Yeah. So yesterday I paid a visit. That's why I was not here to a family who lost a young mother, 59 years old, cancer. She actually overcome the cancer, but I think there was a trace of somewhere, and then she passed away. So again, what I'm saying is cancer. So growth. That's why Professor Murthy's call to all the undergrad students that can you give me half a day of your month to go into the nearby villages to educate them, to uplift their well-being. Again, to our friend, India 1, India 2, India 3, India 4. So if India 2 becomes India 1, more people. Then India 2 also becomes large number. India 3 becomes small number. You want to see that transformative India. I'm also giving you a lot of yarn on content that's important, right? You know. Okay, I think that's pretty much as far as that lecture is concerned. So let's go into the last one for today.